I am a little emotional right now. I am a teacher in Mississippi. I have Hispanic students.
Remember everything I taught you, okay? Make sure and are you sure you're not coming back? Okay, so make sure you remember everything I taught you. Make sure you understand, you are smart, you know how to read. Take your time, right? Take your time, read those questions, okay? I love you. Me too. Bye, baby.
Before we go further, let us watch these videos and let me know what you think.
Hello, TikTok. I am a little emotional right now. I am a teacher in Mississippi. I have Hispanic students. Yesterday, my Hispanic students were not present. Today, one of my students came back. When it was time for parent pickup, their parents were not the ones that picked them up. I'm sure that they didn't really know the people that picked them up, but they were told that somebody different would pick them up today. And so the first thing I wanted is, where are their parents? Because my parents that picked them up, their parents would greet them before they come in the car, would hug them. Just proud dad, proud mom, love that their child was able to get a good education. And now, I don't know. I'm so heartbroken. And I'm so scared for them. And I understand that we all have laws and we must all follow them. But these little children being without their moms or their fathers, what did they do wrong? When I chose a person that I wanted to vote for, I listened. I did not look at their skin color, if they were man or woman. I heard what they were saying. And I was so afraid of this, of everything that seems to be going on right now. And if there are some words or anything that you can share with me to just help me to understand, because those are not just my students. Those are my babies. And yes, I teach them, but they are with me more than they are with their parents. And I am their teacher. We share laughs together. We learn together. And it's just not my class. You know, other Hispanic students have not shown up or has been absent since Monday, since all this ICE stuff has happened. And I just don't understand. I wanted to ugly cry multiple times today, but I tried to keep it together because I just don't. So are they supposed to just hide and not get an education anymore? I don't know where they are. And in my mind, I'm like, are they scared? Are they alone? Are they with their parents? What happened to their parents? Did their parents get taken away and they have to have other people pick them up? Are they scared? Are they looking for their mom? Because one of my students told me that his mom was pregnant and he was excited to be a big brother. And I don't. Is This what do they say? I mean, if error points I lose. For crying on TikTok. My Hispanic babies. I don't know. But I'm heartbroken, and I know that there's more teachers that feel the same way. I don't know. But if you are going through the same thing, you're a teacher, you're an educator, or whatever the case may be, you are not alone. And I am going to cover them in prayer. It's everything is situated. Wherever they are, I hope that they're safe. And I hope that their parents are with them. And I don't know. Sorry. But I just want to share this with you guys. And just, it's hard. It's hard for everybody. And I just didn't want this to happen. That's the big thing. You know, and I know that they may have done this the illegal way and you have to follow the laws and regulations, but please just let them be together. Don't separate the children from their parents. You know? I just want them to be safe and to be with their family, because let me tell you, I have some little girl student, and when her dad picks her up, her dad gets out of the truck, he runs, he hugs her, he makes sure they get into the truck safe, and he's just smiling and so happy to see them at the school and parent pickup line. And I don't know if they're legal or not legal. I don't care. All I know is that they were my students, and I don't know. And maybe they're just absent. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. I don't know. But wherever they are, I just hope that everything is fine, and I hope that everything works out. Yes, thank y'all for allowing me to just vent to you guys, because I needed to. So, thank y'all for listening. We have a great day.
This video is a message for white parents, particularly conservative white parents, or white parents who consider themselves apolitical or don't do politics. Do y'all not realize that Trump signing off on ICE immigration raids in classrooms and in churches is going to hurt your children too? Like, it doesn't matter how lily white your child's skin is, they are also going to be harmed. They may not be deported, they may not be at risk of being one of the children that's detained, but what kind of impact do you think witnessing an ICE raid in their classroom is going to have on your child? There is no amount of translucent skin that will protect them from the damage that does. They've done studies where they interviewed hundreds of children that were exposed to immigration raids and found the long-term damage that did to those children was immense. A huge percentage of them ended up with PTSD. It caused developmental delays for some of them. They stopped sleeping. They regressed. Some of them went back to suddenly being bedwetters again, or suddenly needing a pacifier or sucking their thumb after years of no longer doing that. If there are immigrants in your child's classroom, there's a solid chance that they're friends with them, whether you realize it or not. What kind of damage do you think it's going to do to your child for them to watch their friend handcuffed and dragged out of the classroom? Approximately 1 in 5 pre-K teachers is an immigrant. What do you think it's going to do to your child to watch their teacher be arrested and dragged out of the classroom? Because I know that a lot of y'all think that you and your children are fully fucking immune to the damage this is going to do. And I wish that I could simply appeal to your empathy and point out the severe damage this will do to immigrant children, human beings who are completely innocent. But I'm also not a fool. And I realize that there are quite a few of you that simply do not care unless it impacts you and yours directly. So this is your wake-up call. This absolutely will impact you and yours directly. And I imagine that there are quite a few of you that are so sucked in to the Trump cult of personality that it won't even get through to you to think about your child being harmed, because you're so far down that rabbit hole that you literally only care once it impacts you directly. So think about this. What do you think it's going to do to your relationship with your child when your child gets a little bit older and realizes that part of the reason why they experienced that horrific thing in their childhood when ICE agents burst into their classroom and drug some of their friends out in front of them, that thing that caused them to start wetting the bed again, that thing that caused them to develop PTSD, what do you think it's going to do to your relationship with your child when they get a little bit older and they realize that you are part of the reason that happened to them? Eventually, they'll put 2 and 2 together. They'll connect the dots. They're going to realize that mom or dad didn't fucking bother to speak up, that mom and dad didn't care, that mom or dad knew this was coming and still cheered the man on who did it. You think your child's still gonna love you then? Are you that confident in their ability to forgive you no matter what your sins? Because I don't think you should be. So even if you don't care how this is going to harm immigrant children and immigrant families, even if you don't care how this will harm American children and American families who aren't immigrants and just happen to have skin a few shades darker than yours, and even if you don't care that it's going to harm your own children, are you prepared to die alone in the nursing home? Are you prepared to have no one standing next to you on your deathbed? Because there's going to be a whole lot of you who aren't given forgiveness, because there's a whole lot of you that aren't going to deserve it.
As we all may know, things are getting tough, especially in our schools. Our students are already going through a lot. So checking in on your students, especially during these times, would be ideal. Talk to them about the 2 terms that are surfacing everywhere: immigration and deportation. Try to calm them down. A lot of students are building a lot of stress around these 2 terms because they go home and they listen to the conversations going on in the home, especially if they come from a Hispanic, Mexican, Latino household. Then they're going onto social media. They're listening to the little snippets on the news when parents, grandparents are watching. And know that their brains are always on and their imagination goes above and beyond. For this reason, as teachers, let's take our time to educate them and just make them aware of what's going on. Let them know that just because they're Mexican, they're not going to get deported, and their parents are not going to get deported. My daughter came home from school thinking that I got deported. And this is my daughter who's a 10-year-old. And then I thought, I teach 10-year-olds. So I took it upon myself, number 1, got permission from my district to educate my students and give them a small civics lesson. But then the questions started coming about schools letting immigration coming onto campus and taking them or taking their parents during pickup. So then I found out that some of my absent students are staying home for the same reason. Let's take our time and really educate parents. Try to see if we can get some resources out there and provide this information to parents. Times are tough, and I think that they're going to get worse. But checking in on our students, kind of ease that anxiety that they're getting because of whatever it is that they're listening to, will go a long way.
People are not bluffing when they say that they are fighting back when it comes to this administration. This morning, an elementary school in Chicago was about to be raided, and the principal denied ICE entry. It was at Hamlin Elementary School. This was right after 11 a.m. ICE tried to go in and essentially try to take children. And the principal, according to the principal, they said that they followed protocol and did not let them in. Right now, they're trying to scrub the story. ICE is saying they weren't there. Chicago PD said they were not notified. After seeing the post from the official White House accounts on Instagram and the accounts on X, I know that people are on high alert right now. If you're not taking this seriously now, you need to take it seriously after what happened this morning. They do not care if you're a man, woman, child, able-bodied, disabled, young or old. They were ready to take children from their classrooms and put them into trucks. Do you know how many people have been essentially deported in the last 5 days? Over 500. This is only week 1. Stay alert and protect your...
This is what you need to know about protecting your undocumented students while they're in school if you are an educator or school employee of any kind. First off, if you believe that I should be able to enter schools and detain children, go ahead and block me, or if I see you in the comments, I will block you. My current understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I've just been doing research this morning, is that there are 3 layers of protection. 1, Trump is actively trying to get rid of. Another one is dependent on your state and district. The third one should hold true. First off, there's a sensitive locations policy, which does prohibit ICE from entering schools without a judicial warrant and also should prevent them from conducting enforcement outside of schools or nearby schools. That means technically they should not be able to arrest parents who are dropping off their kids at school, though there have been documented instances of them doing just that. This sensitive locations policy falls under a Supreme Court case called Plyler versus Doe, but unfortunately, Trump is planning on actively undermining it. That means under a Trump presidency, it is very likely that ICE will be able at the federal level to enter schools and to conduct enforcement outside of schools. However, this is where we get to protection number 2, and this is why it is so important that you know your state and your district. This is my district. I work at CPS, and you can see right here the commitments that my district has made to families. CPS has specifically said it will not allow ICE agents to access CPS facilities without a judicial warrant. I'm so grateful to be in a city and in a district that is taking a stand. But like I said, you really need to figure out what your district is doing to know what is allowable. The third protection is FERPA, which is the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. I really doubt this will go anywhere. While this does not prevent ICE from entering schools, it does mean that schools cannot report any personally identifiable information to federal agencies. It means that schools cannot report a student's immigration status to ICE. There are a few exemptions outlined here, but for the most part, this should hold true. If anyone ever asks you about the legal status of a student, you say, FERPA does not allow me to share that information with you. Please let me know if I missed anything or said anything wrong. I know things are changing by the day at this point. I'm really terrified, but I feel like we just have to stay informed as educators.
When I was 12 years old, my dad got deported. That was 15 years ago, and I ain't seen him since. I was in the 4th grade. I went through middle school. I went through high school. I went through college, all without my father. Every major life event you could think of, I went through without my dad. So yeah, I definitely feel bad for all of those people who are getting deported and all of those children who are about to lose a parent. But I wasn't the only black kid in my school who went through life without a dad. A lot of black kids in my school didn't have a dad. A lot of them lost their parents to the prison industrial complex. Hell, my nephew lost his dad to the prison industrial complex. My brother, at 5 years old, my brother went to prison for selling weed for 17 years. My brother lost 17 years of his life for selling marijuana, something that somebody on the West Coast is making $2 billion off of right now. I lost 2 male figures just like that. Poof, gone. The system has taken more from me than I can verbally express. Like, nobody knows what it's like to have the system rip your family apart more than me. I can't explain how deportation is related to the prison industrial complex, but it is. I have a fundamental understanding of it that I can't express into words, but know that this is one and the same system. Because you don't just get deported. They don't just send you home the next day, right? You sit in that camp for a long ass time. You're basically in a prison. So trust me when I tell you, it's one in the same fight, baby.
Allow me to give my 2 cents on this. I live in an international community that is comprises of 54 nations and I think plus. And we are here and we have already formed a community. And whenever parents are graduating or just moving to a different phase of life, and they have to move this community, it's always children who are affected. Now I'm just picturing these children who have to leave their friends in a sudden way, like no preparation whatsoever. And they have to watch their friends, their colleagues being deported, and by ICE, these are police. There's nothing safe about them. So I don't know what kind of trauma are these children left with, but I can relate. I can relate because I don't know, this is the worst situation that can ever happen to for someone to separate. And even you, as you're watching this right now, you had that close friend who maybe moved to a different state. How did you feel about it? And you're close, and just imagine how children are affected by such separations. So we are the voice for children. We know that what is happening is what the law requires. They don't want to allow illegal immigrants, but how are we protecting these children from harm, from traumas from all these disconnects, that this sudden disruption that is happening in their education, and like how are we protecting them? It's so unfortunate that children have to pay for their parents' mistakes, which is, it's so unfortunate. Though I came across this small clip, this short clip on my For You page on TikTok, and I will let you reflect on that clip as I wind up this video. Yeah, reflect on this.
I don't know what child of immigrant needs to hear this, but your parents did not cross the border for you. Oh, I remember being in college and a bunch of people having that on their hats or talking about like my parents crossed the border for me to be here in education or whatever. And I used to be like, what? Like my parents literally never talk about me when they talk about their immigration story. I realize it's because my parents came here single. So when they talk about their immigration stories or like why they came, my dad's so real with me. He's like, I literally came here for myself. Obviously, they came for the bigger picture, but nowhere in my parents' mind did they think that they were going to have kids here. Actually, most of the time, my parents thought they were going to go back to Guatemala and just live their life there, get money here and go back. And they never did. So the story of immigrating and immigrating for oneself can coexist. Like, it doesn't have to be this, like, I'm bringing my family, because my family's plans of coming here were not like how they first started. And they didn't even think they were going to have kids here. So, like, why would they think in their right mind that they're crossing for my education or crossing for me? Like, no, they were solely crossing for themselves and to better their lives. Yeah, all this to say, like, do something for yourself today.
That was it about this video. Thank you for watching. Goodbye for now. Appreciate you.